Welcome! Today we are making homemade naan bread. This soft and fluffy flatbread is perfect with curries, soups, or even as a base for wraps and sandwiches. Follow these steps to create naan that's warm, tender, and full of flavor. Let's get started. Let's go over our ingredients. First, we have 2 teaspoons of active dry yeast, which helps our dough rise and become fluffy. Then 1 teaspoon of sugar to feed the yeast, and we need water should be around 110 degrees Fahrenheit to activate the yeast. Next we have 2½ cups of all-purpose flour, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 cup of plain yogurt for moisture and a slight tang, along with 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil for richness. We also need a 1/4 cup of warm milk, which adds softness to the dough. For cooking and topping, 2 tablespoons of melted butter or ghee give the naan a beautiful shine and delicious taste. Optional toppings like chopped cilantro, garlic, or sesame seeds can be added for extra flavor and texture. To activate the yeast, start by taking a small bowl. Dissolve 2 teaspoons of sugar in 1/2 cup of warm water. The water should be warm to the touch, around 110 degrees Fahrenheit, to properly activate the yeast. Next, sprinkle the 2 teaspoons of active dry yeast on top of the water. Let this mixture sit for about 10 minutes until it becomes frothy. This step is crucial to ensure that the yeast is active. If the mixture doesn't froth, the yeast may be inactive, so you'll need to start again with fresh yeast to ensure your dough rises properly. Next, prepare the dough. In a large mixing bowl, combine 2½ cups of all-purpose flour and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Make a well in the center and add a 1/4 cup of plain yogurt, 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, a 1/4 cup of warm milk, and the activated yeast mixture from earlier. Mix all the ingredients until a dough forms. Transfer the dough to a lightly floured surface and knead it for about 5 to 7 minutes until it becomes smooth and elastic. If the dough is too sticky, gradually add a little more flour, but be careful not to add too much to ensure the naan remains soft and tender. Now it's time for the first rise. Place the kneaded dough into a lightly oiled bowl to prevent it from sticking. Cover the bowl with a damp cloth to keep the dough moist. Let it rise in a warm place for about 1 to 2 hours, or until the dough has doubled in size. Next, divide the dough. Hunch down the risen dough to release the air. Then divide it into 6 to 8 equal portions, depending on how large you want your naan. Roll each portion into a ball to prepare for shaping and cooking. Now shape the naan. Preheat a cast iron skillet or non-stick pan over medium-high heat. On a lightly floured surface, take each dough ball and roll it out into an oval or teardrop shape about a 1/4 inch thick. This shape helps create the traditional look of naan bread. Next, cook the naan. Place the rolled out dough onto the preheated skillet. Cook until bubbles form on the surface and the bottom is golden brown, about 1 to 2 minutes. Flip the naan and cook the other side for another 1 to 2 minutes until golden spots appear. For a more authentic touch, you can use tongs to cook the naan on an open flame, like a gas stove, for a few seconds to give it a slight char. Now brush with butter. Remove the cooked naan from the skillet and immediately brush it with melted butter or ghee. For extra flavor, you can sprinkle on optional toppings like chopped cilantro, minced garlic, or sesame seeds if desired. This adds a delicious finishing touch to your naan. Serve it warm for the best taste and texture. Naan is perfect with curries, soups, or as a base for wraps and sandwiches. And lastly, here are some tips for perfect naan. First, control the temperature. Ensure the water and milk are warm but not hot to activate the yeast without killing it. Kneading is crucial. Don't skip this step, as it helps make the naan soft and fluffy. Allow the dough to rise in a warm, draft-free area for the best results. For cooking, use medium-high heat to cook the naan quickly and evenly, and adjust the heat as needed to prevent burning. Finally, feel free to experiment with variations, add herbs, spices, or even stuff the naan with cheese or garlic for different flavors. Enjoy your homemade naan bread.